Welcome to Pots, Pans, and Pioneers. Today I'm going to be making a lunch or dinner entree item. And this is called Mexican street corn chicken. And it's basically a chicken casserole with sour cream and cheese with corn. So super easy. You could make this ahead, put it in a casserole dish, and then just stick it in a 350 heated oven for about 30 minutes, 35 minutes, depending on if you have a convection or conventional oven, and it's ready to roll. And I serve mine with Mexican rice. You could do pinto beans as well. So here we go, let's get started. I've got the oven preheated, it's ready to go, so I'm gonna mix up the all the things that go around the chicken. And we're gonna lay the chicken out after we mix those together. We need 3 cups of sweet corn, and I'm using frozen. I don't buy canned corn. It's not something I enjoy, so I think frozen is better, and I'm using the super sweet. This is the Bird's Eye brand, and you're gonna put that in a bowl. And to this, you're gonna add 1/4 cup of mayonnaise, and I recommend Duke's. If you can't get Duke's, use the Kraft Real mayonnaise as an alternative. And the Kraft Real mayonnaise will have the lemon or lime juice to it, so you may not need to add that if you're using the real Kraft. I'm gonna eyeball this, but I'm gonna tell you the measurements, and then I'll leave a link in the description to my blog page where you can print off the recipe if you want. So this is going to be 1/4 cup of sour cream. Do a little bit more than that. And we need 1/4 cup of mayonnaise. And we need I'm going to say a tablespoon of lime juice. You can use real limes. I'm using the concentrated, so I'm not going to have as much. This will give a real good lime to the chicken. We're going to use some onion powder. And I'm using onion powder instead of cilantro. If you want to use cilantro, you can. I'm trying to keep everything pretty mild just for us, but the recipe does call for 1/4 cup of cilantro. I'm going to use 1½ teaspoons of chili powder. And the recipe doesn't call for this, but it's really good with any Mexican dish, and that is cumin. I'm going to use some of that. And garlic powder or fresh garlic. And we're going to do a little bit of kosher salt. Your lime's going to have a lot of sodium in it, so you're probably not going to want to put too much salt in there. You could use parsley instead of cilantro as well. You're just going to want to mix this up really well. And if you're using the canned corn, you just want to drain a little bit of the water off. You want to have some water. I'm using frozen corn, so it's going to have some moisture in it as it thaws or cooks in the oven. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the chicken part.
Super
and I'm
easy.
just
Now
using
we're going to move on to
organic chicken breast. Pardon the rooster. And these chicken breasts are fairly large. I'm going to use 3, but it recommends 2 pounds of chicken. But I'm going to slice these in half, so it's going to double everything. So I'll still get my 4 to 6. And I'm going to go rinse these, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm gonna take an 8x8 Pyrex baking pan. You could use a full casserole if you wanted, like an 11, probably a 10 by 12 or something like that. I'm just gonna use this one. I'm gonna spray the pan just so it doesn't, you know, stick to it. And I'm gonna slice the chicken breast literally in half. And this will assure that the chicken is going to cook faster and more evenly. If you wanted to leave them whole, you're just gonna need to cook the chicken longer. Okay, we're gonna lay the chicken inside the pan just like that. We'll bunch these up in here. We'll get them in here. Okay. All right, we've got our chicken in here. Just lay them in there like that. Now we're gonna take our corn mixture and we're gonna put it on top. I've also seen this made with cream cheese. So if you don't have mayonnaise and you don't have sour cream, you could certainly make this with cream cheese. But on a side note, I think the person that came up with this did sour cream and mayonnaise. Okay, going to use some queso fresco, and you can find this usually in any of the ethnic sides of the grocery store. I know this is a real easy to find in like Texas, Louisiana, and in Arkansas here, so I would look for this, but it's I don't know the name of it. I've kind of ripped it, but anyway, you get the gist of it. And this cheese right here will crumble, and all we need is probably a fourth of it. And you really should use this cheese up or put it in an airtight container because it will mold on you pretty quickly. And you're just going to crumble this over like that. And I'm going to add some shredded Mexican cheese as well. Okay, and then I'm going to take a little bit of parsley. You would put cilantro if you like spicy. You could even put jalapenos on here as well. All right, I'm gonna go grab the Mexican blended cheese. This is just shredded cheese. You can shred your own, I do sometimes. All right, you're gonna bake this for 30 to 40 minutes depending on your oven. I would check it at 30 minutes to see if the chicken is done. Chicken thawed should only take, boneless, should only take about 25 minutes to be tender and done. So if that gives you an indication, depending on how many people you're feeding, if you double, tripled the recipe. This is super easy, so we'll be back once our chicken's out of the oven. And let's see how we did. Yum. Move this over. There we go. And you just serve it up. I'm going to serve it with Mexican rice. And should be all the way done. Here we go. And if you want to know how I make my Mexican rice, it's in my video catalog. Just look at Mexican or Spanish rice and you'll see the video for that recipe. All right. Throw some chips on here. And I know this is super hot. Really good. I'd probably put a little bit more cheese on top of the chicken and some on top of my rice and my chips. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you'll try this Mexican street corn chicken for your family or for yourself. Everybody have a blessed day, and don't forget,
Pots, Pans,
find
and
somebody to
Pioneers.
bless.
Today I'm going to be making what I call a cherry Jubilee surprise cake, and it's Mother's Day weekend, so I'm going to do a cake for Mother's Day. And this is a really simple cake, probably a cake that you might find in the grocery store bakery, but this is a simple way to do it at home. So I've just done a boxed yellow cake mix. You could use vanilla cake, or you could even do this with chocolate cake if you prefer. But then it turns into more of a black cherry cake instead of this Cherry's Jubilee that I'm going to be doing. So I've got two layers here, 2 9-inch layers. You could do 3 or even 4 of the thinner layers to make this cake, but I think for the sturdiness of it, you'll need the 2 layers. And I've got this on a Lazy Susan because I'm going to be frosting it later. And I also used a cardboard circle so it's easy to lift off and put it under my cake plate. So let's get started with the filling. Now I made these according to the box instructions. I only added the pudding mix in addition to that. And they're not real super tall layers. They would have been if I would have added more eggs, but I did just followed the instructions, the 3 eggs, the 1/3 cup of oil, and the 1 cup of water. And I use cold water in my cakes. It really, really makes them moist instead of just tap water. Anyway, so let's get started with the filling. We're going to do the cream cheese for the layers,
Okay,
and then we'll get out
section. I'm just going to use a brick of cream cheese. And I'm just going to, this has been softened. I've just set it out for the last probably half a day. And to get it all softened, we're going to put a little bit of vanilla. I'd say about a tablespoon of vanilla, really. We're going to add, this is a 6 cup of powdered sugar. We're going to probably add about, I'd say, we'll start with 2 cups and see what it does. This is pre-sifted powdered sugar, and we're just going to add a cup at a time. It'll be down, it will fly everywhere, all around you. I'm going to add about a tablespoon of milk. I want this to be not really liquidy, but more creamy and easy to spread. Okay. And we're just going to beat this until it's just really thick and creamy. Okay, Okay, we're going to add our other cup of powdered sugar. Sometimes I've added 2.5 cups. It just really depends. Adding more powdered sugar really doesn't do anything but add volume. So you're just going to get more. Of course, there's a point where you could overdo it, I guess, but I just do it really by sight. This cake was served in my grandmother's diner that she owned, and it was the most requested around the holidays. Now, she would make her cakes from scratch, and I know she did probably 8 or 10 cakes in a week, so there was a lot served. I'm just going to taste it. Okay, I think it needs a little bit more sugar. Just really want to keep the cream cheese taste and not so much the sugar. You want that cream cheese. I've done too much one time, and I used the same filling to fill French toast. It was super rich, but really good. So if you happen to have extra of it, just know there's a place for it. Okay, so this is kind of what we want. We just want it to be really, really rich and creamy. See how this is really ribboned up? And I'm going to go a little bit longer. I just want a spatula to be able to spread it really nicely on these cakes. Okay. We just want the, you know, a cream cheese like what you would have, like a cream cheese cake with graham crackers. Just, we want that cream cheesy flavor in this cake. You could add a little touch of lemon if you wanted to instead of the milk, and you're going to get more of a tang citrus flavor. Okay, we're going to go over to the cake, and we're going to spread this on the cake. I'm going to go ahead and get this cream cheese going, and I'm just going to take it and I'm going to put it one layer, and I'm going to try to do it relatively thick. This is going to be hopefully not sliding too much. And what I want to kind of do is build like a well. So I want the middle to set down lower than the outsides. So my cake slide around on me. I should have put some underneath it. So if you get crumbs in here, that's fine. You're not going to see them. So what I'm just trying to do is build up a well. Just making sure that the outside of this is a lot higher than the middle. And you could achieve the same thing with a piping bag by just piping it all the way around. I'm just using a spatula instead. And I'm not going completely to the edge because when I put this other layer on top, it's going to add some weight, which is going to cause, you know, the filling to want to ooze out. This is a cake you're going to want to put in the refrigerator. In fact, we're going to refrigerate this overnight.
before we actually frost it, so that, you know, the filling stays really nice and tight and it doesn't just start oozing out. We don't really want that. As you can see, I've overdone it just a little bit. There's a little bit more than I really needed to have, but that's fine. This will refrigerate up to 10 days, and you can add cream cheese to a lot of different desserts, a lot of different recipes. And you just, you know, you don't want it to gob it in here, even though it's really good. But I'm going to try really quickly to do my little well. Because our cherries are going to set inside the middle, and we really don't want that oozing out. Okay. Now I'm going to go get the cherry filling. I'm going to be using the Comstock non-GMO organic pie filling. And this is the, well, this is Lucky Leaf, not Comstock, but it is GMO free. And these are organic, it's organic filling, which may or may not matter to you. But Comstock also makes a really good cherry. I love Comstock's cherry pie filling. And you're not going to use this entire can, so if you can find it, or if you want to make homemade, you know, cherry topping, buy the smaller one for this recipe. Because more than likely, you're going to have extra, but you know, you can use it for ice cream and stuff like that. Okay, so now we're just going to spoon our cherry. We're not going to do it liberally because I don't want the cherry filling to be oozing out of the cake. We don't want them near to the edge because we don't want this to be oozing. I can't emphasize that enough because you really don't want your frosting not to be able to cover, and this red cherries are really gonna, so you probably use a half a can. Okay. All right, and then we have a little bit trying to run over here, and what we'll do, well, I'm gonna try to capture a little bit of it. I'm gonna use the rest of my cream cheese, and I'm gonna dollop, let's dollop some on here. This will be a really rich cake. Probably, if you're on a diet, you're not going to want to try this. Certainly, if you're a diabetic, you won't. This is equivalent to me to like having a filled donut, you know. A little bit left there. Okay, and we're going to take our other layer and we're going to set it on top. And because the cake is kind of sunken in on this side, I'm going to do this side. Because this will give me my result at the end where it's not going to overflow, and I don't want to press it because it's going to ooze out. Okay, so we're going to refrigerate this overnight, and then tomorrow we will. Our cake has been refrigerated overnight, and I've taken the cover off of it. You don't want to leave it open in the refrigerator because you'll dry out the cake. I've got it on a Lazy Susan here, so it's going to be easy for me to spin around, and I've got it on my glass cake plate, and then also on the cardboard I originally had it on. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do a crumb coat for the top and get this all covered up. And I'm using the buttercream that I make. If you want to see a video on that, it's in my video log under buttercream frosting. And I make mine a little differently than most people, but it's the texture and consistency that I like it to do homemade cakes. I'm sure for commercial cakes, you want a different type of buttercream. But we're going to cover this entire cake
And I'm going to start with putting a big blob of it on here, and then we're going to work around the edges. And I'm just using a knife that's got a little bit of lift on it so that I can get around. So I'm just going to put a big blob on top. Okay, we're going to cut the Cherry Jubilee cake. Here we go. Ready, Bill? Go. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers that subscribe to my channel and their mothers. I hope you have a wonderful Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
All right, let's get in on this cake and see how yummy.
Is that too big for you?
No.
Looky there.
Yum, yum, yum.
Yum, yum, yum.
Y'all got to make this cake.
Yeah, because this one's mine.
It's a giant piece of cake.
That's kind of small.
Remember, keep this cake in the refrigerator. You don't want to leave it sitting out for too long, at least, because you're going to have a runny mess.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Yeah. Let's see if it's good, Bill.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'll tell you it's good because nobody else is here. That means you won't want it.
You won't want it. All right. Thank you for watching my video, my video.
Very good.
And I hope you try the cake for your family and let me know how it is. Everybody have a blessed day, and don't forget, find somebody to bless.